traits of Satan. What we are about to demonstrate is some of the forbidden knowledge that Adam and Eve continued to be deceived by Satan, and on some 13 occasions after the shameful expulsion from paradise. As the next heading of chapter 70 confirms. 13th apparition of Satan. Bringing to fruition what Satan spoke to God about in chapter 41. Afterwards God called Satan and came laughing, and he said to him, "Because thou reprobate hast deceived these and hast made them to become unclean, I will that every uncleanness of them and of all their children, whereof they shall be truly penitent and shall serve me, in going forth from their body shall enter through thy mouth, and so they shall be satiated with uncleanness," which was supported by Surah 7:16-17. "Surely I will sit in wait against them on your straight path. Then I will come to them from before them and behind them, from their right and from their left." Surah 15:39. Iblis said, "My Lord, because you have put me in error, I will surely make disobedience attractive to them on earth, and I will mislead them all." 15:40. "Except among them your chosen servants." 15:41. Allah said, "This is a path of return to me that is straight." 15:42. "Indeed my servants, no authority will you have over them, except those who follow you of the deviators." 15:43. "And indeed, hell is the promised place for them all." And true to his word, Satan continues to deceive mankind, and he continues to deceive Adam and Eve. Take a look at the next chapter, where Satan appears as a bright light. Chapter 27, Forgotten Book of Eden. The second tempting of Adam and Eve, the devil takes on the form of a beguiling light. When Satan, the hater of all good, saw how they continued in prayer and how God communed with them and comforted them, and how he had accepted their offering, Satan made an apparition. He began with transforming his host. In his hands was a flashing fire, and they were in great light. He then placed his throne near the mouth of the cave, because he could not enter into it by reason of their prayers. And he shed light into the cave until the cave glistened over Adam and Eve, while his host began to sing praises. And Satan did this in order that when Adam saw the light, he should think within himself it was a heavenly light, and that Satan's hosts were angels, and that God had sent them to watch at the cave and to give him light in the darkness. So that when Adam came out of the cave and saw them, and Adam and Eve bowed to Satan, then he would overcome Adam thereby, and a second time humble him before God. Wherefore Adam and Eve saw the light, fancying it was real, they strengthened their hearts. Yet as they were trembling, Adam said to Eve, "Look at that great light, and at those many songs of praise, and at the host standing outside, who won't come into our cave. Why don't they tell us what they want, where they are from, what the meaning of this light is, what those praises are, why they have been sent to this place, and why they won't come in? If they were from God, they would come into the cave with us, and would tell us why they were sent." Then Adam stood up and prayed to God with a burning heart and said, "O Lord, is there in the world, our world, another God besides you, who created angels and filled them with light, and sent them to keep us, who would come with them?" My dear brothers and sisters, how many people have been deceived by Satan? How many generations of humanity, of mankind, have been deceived in the same way that Adam and Eve have just been deceived, and have truly believed from the bottom of their hearts that God had appeared to them, or an angel had appeared to them. Moving on. But look, we see these hosts that stand at the mouth of the cave. They are in great light. They sing loud praises. If they are some other God than you, tell me. And if they are sent by you, inform me of the reason for which you have sent them. No sooner had Adam said this than an angel from God appeared to him. In the cave he said to him, O Adam, fear not. Listen, my dear brothers and sisters, to the next. This is Satan and his hosts. He wishes to deceive you as he deceived you at first. For the first time he was hidden in the serpent, but this time he has come to you in the likeness of an angel of light, in order that when you worship him, he might enslave you in the very presence of God. Then the angel went from Adam and seized Satan at the opening of the cave, and stripped him of the pretense he had assumed, and brought him in his own hideous form to Adam and Eve, who were afraid of him when they saw him. And the angel said to him, this hideous form has been his ever since God made him fall from heaven. He could not have come near you in it. He therefore transformed himself into an angel of light. Then the angel drove away Satan and his hosts from Adam and Eve, and said to them, fear not, God who created you will strengthen you. And the angel left them. But Adam and Eve remained standing in the cave. No consolation came to them. They divided in their thoughts, and when it was morning they prayed, and then went out to seek the garden, for their hearts were towards it, and they could get no consolation for having left it. My dear brothers and sisters, how many miracles have been performed in this way in our modern time? I want to ask my brothers, I want to ask my Catholic brothers especially, and my Hindu brothers, and all those that believe in miracles, how many of them have been truly performed by God? Having read what we've just read, it is mind-boggling at the thought of how many generations of mothers, grandmothers, sisters and brothers and fathers have been deceived in this way. All of the above deceit, my dear brothers and sisters, is further supported in 2 Corinthians 11 verse 14 by Paul himself. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. The above explosive and damning text, my dear brothers and sisters, we have just heard from the forgotten books of Eden, exposes the malicious deceit of the miracles that the church has sanctified through their saints, in order for those weak and ill-informed souls to worship Satan through their images, and exposes furthermore the malicious deceit of the yearly illumination of the supposed tomb of Jesus Christ at Easter time in Jerusalem. We can now clearly identify why the above text was maliciously left out of the Torah, for it clearly exposes the deceit that has tragically come upon mankind. One cannot help but ponder if the above stories about the deceit of Satan were included in our scripture, then many, many more souls would have been saved from eternal damnation. Take a look and examine the many faces of deceit Satan has used to deceive mankind. Chapter 28. The devil pretends to lead Adam and Eve to the water to bathe. But when the crafty Satan saw them, that they were going to the garden, he gathered together his host and came in appearance on a cloud, intent on deceiving them. But when Adam and Eve saw him thus in a vision, they thought they were angels of God, come to comfort them about having left the garden, or to bring them back again into it. Chapter 29. God tells Adam of the devil's purpose. But when the merciful God saw that Satan wished to kill Adam with his many tricks, and saw that Adam was meek and without guilt, God spoke to Satan in a loud voice and cursed him. Then he and his host fled, and Adam and Eve remained standing on the top of the mountain. From there they saw below them the wide world high above which they were. But they saw none of the hosts which time after time were by them. They cried, both Adam and Eve, before God, and begged for forgiveness of him. Then came the word from God to Adam and said to him, listen, my dear brothers and sisters, to these words. Know you and understand concerning this Satan, that he seeks to deceive you and your descendants after you. My dear brothers and sisters, these are damning words that have come from the one true God. But the tragic reality is that the descendants of Adam have been truly deceived.
The above damning words of the one true God were consolidated by the prophecy of Jesus in Mark 13 verse 5-6 and Mark 13 verse 21-22, where he warned all of us of the false apparitions and miracles of Satan and his servants who will appear in his image among many. Mark 13 verse 5 and 6, Jesus said to them, watch out that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and will deceive many. And Mark 13 verse 21 and 22. And then, if anyone says to you, behold, here is the Christ, or behold, he is there, do not believe him. For false Christ and false prophets will arise, and will show signs and wonders, in order to lead astray, if possible, the elect. It is ever so clear from the overwhelming evidence we are about to produce in this documentary that the descendants of Adam have been truly deceived to this day by Satan, who is in full control of our world today, as the powerful words of Jesus in John 7 verse 7 strongly condemns. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I testify that its works are evil.
When we read the vague text of Genesis 4, there are a few unanswered questions that circulate in one's mind. How did Adam and Eve come to sleep with one another? Was it through lust, as the text of Genesis 4:1 alludes to? One cannot help but ponder as to the reasons why Cain's offerings was rejected, and what were the circumstances that led to him killing his only brother. The most ironic question that comes to mind is in the intriguing text of Genesis 4:13-14. One cannot help but ask, how can Cain wander in the land with fear of people killing him when there is only him and his parents left in the world? And what does God mean in verse 15 about whoever kills Cain will have 7 times the punishment? Not to mention the mind-boggling puzzle of verse 17, where Cain married a wife. From where exactly did this wife come from, when there was only him and his mother Eve and father Adam in this world? Did he have intercourse with his mother? My dear brothers and sisters, we will now reveal to you all the answers to the above vague text and more from the omitted texts of the forgotten books of Eden. Chapter 72, Forgotten Book of Eden. Adam's heart is set on fire. Satan appears as beautiful maidens. Then Satan and 10 from his hosts transformed themselves into maidens, unlike any others in the whole world, for grace. They came up out of a river in presence of Adam and Eve, and they said among themselves, "Come, we will look all the faces of Adam and Eve, who are the men on the earth. How beautiful they are, and how different is their look from our own faces." Then they came to Adam and Eve and greeted them and stood wondering at them. Adam and Eve looked at them also and wondered at their beauty and said, "Is there then under us another world with such beautiful creatures as these in it?" And those maidens said to Adam and Eve, "Yes, indeed, we are an abundant creation." Then Adam said to them, "But how do you multiply?" And they answered him, "We have husbands who have married us, and we bear them children, who grow up, and who in their turn marry and are married, and also bear children, and thus we increase. And if so be, O Adam, you will not believe us, we will show you our husbands and our children." Then they shouted over the river as if to call their husbands and their children, who came up from the river, men and children, and every man came to his wife, his children being with him. But when Adam and Eve saw them, they stood dumb and wondered at them. Then they said to Adam and Eve, "See all our husbands and our children. You should marry Eve as we have married our husbands, so that you will have children as we have." This was a device of Satan to deceive Adam. Satan also thought within himself, God at first commanded Adam concerning the fruit of the tree, saying to him, "Eat not of it, else of death you shall die." But Adam ate of it, and yet God did not kill him. He only decreed on him death and plagues and trials, until the day he shall come out of his body. Listen carefully, my dear brothers and sisters, to the vital importance of what this next sentence attains, and its dire warning for mankind with regard to the sacrament of marriage. Now then, Satan thought in his mind and said, "Now then, if I deceive him to do this thing and to marry Eve without God's permission, God will kill him then." Therefore Satan worked this apparition before Adam and Eve, because he sought to kill him and to make him disappear from off the face of the earth. And when light came up, Adam said to Eve, "Get up, let us go below the mountain where they brought us gold, and let us ask the Lord concerning this matter." Then Eve said, "What is that matter, O Adam?" And he answered her, "That I may request the Lord to inform me about marrying you, for I will not do it without his permission, or else he will make us perish, you and me." The above damning text is a dire warning for those that choose to live in sin. Chapter 73. the marriage of Adam and Eve. Then God considered the words of Adam that they were true, and that he could long await his order, respecting the counsel of Satan. And God approved Adam in what he had thought concerning this, and in the prayer he had offered in his presence. And the word of God came to Adam and said to him, O Adam, if only you had this caution at first, before you came out of the garden into this land. It is with God's permission, my dear brothers and sisters, that marriage was initiated for mankind. After that, God sent his angel who had brought gold, and the angel who had brought incense, and the angel who had brought myrrh to Adam, that they should inform him respecting his marriage to Eve. Then those angels said to Adam, take the gold and give it to Eve as a wedding gift, and promise to marry her. Then give her some incense and myrrh as a present, and be you she, one flesh. Adam obeyed the angels and took the gold and put it into Eve's bosom in her garment, and promised to marry her with his hand. Then the angels commanded Adam and Eve to get up and pray 40 days and 40 nights. When that was done, then Adam was to have sexual intercourse with his wife, for then this would be an act pure and undefiled, so that he would have children who would multiply and replenish the face of the earth. Then both Adam and Eve received the words of the angels, and the angels departed from them. Then Adam and Eve began to fast and pray until the end of the 40 days, and then they had sexual intercourse, as the angels had told them. And from the time Adam left the garden until he wedded Eve were 223 days, that is 7 months and 13 days. Thus was Satan's war with Adam defeated. Chapter 74. The birth of Cain and Lalua. Why they received those names. And they lived on the earth, working in order to keep their bodies in good health. And they continued so until the 9 months of Eve's pregnancy were over, and the time drew near when she must give birth. Then she said to Adam, the signs placed in this cave since we left the garden indicate that this is a pure place, and we will be praying in it again sometime. It is not appropriate then that I should give birth in it. Let us instead go to the sheltering rock cave that was formed by the command of God when Satan threw a big rock down on us in an attempt to kill us with it. Adam then took Eve to that cave. When the time came for her to give birth, she strained a lot. Adam felt sorry, and he was very worried about her because she was close to death, and the words of God to her were being fulfilled. In suffering shall you bear a child, and in sorrow shall you bring forth a child. But when Adam saw the distress in which Eve was, he got up and prayed to God and said, O Lord, look at me with the eye of your mercy and bring her out of her distress. And God looked at his maidservant Eve and delivered her, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, and with him a daughter. My dear brothers and sisters, Cain was born with a twin sister. In complete contrast to the planted deceit of Genesis 4:1. Adam made love to his wife, Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, with the help of the Lord, I have brought forth a man. Then Adam rejoiced at Eve's deliverance, and also over the children she had borne him. And Adam ministered to Eve in the cave until the end of 8 days, when they named the son Cain and the daughter Lalua. The meaning of Cain is hater, because he hated his sister in their mother's womb before they came out of it. Therefore Adam named him Cain. From the beginning we begin to get a bad vibe about Cain, even before he was born. But Lalua means beautiful, because she was more beautiful than her mother. Then Adam and Eve waited until Cain and his sister were 40 days old, when Adam said to Eve, "We will make an offering and offer it up in behalf of the children." And Eve said, "We will make one offering for the firstborn son, and then later we shall make one for the daughter." Brothers and sisters, we can see from the very beginning God's law about firstborn offering evident here, way before it appeared with Moses in Exodus. Chapter 75. The family revisits the cave of treasures, birth of Abel and Acleah. Then Adam prepared an offering, and he and Eve offered it up for their children, and brought it to the altar they had built at first. And Adam offered up the offering and asked God to accept his offering. Then God accepted Adam's offering and sent a light from heaven that shone on the offering. Adam and his son drew near to the offering, but Eve and the daughter did not approach him. Adam and his son were joyful as they came down from on the altar. Adam and Eve waited until the daughter was 80 days old. Then Adam prepared an offering and took it to Eve and to the children. They went to the altar where Adam offered it up as he was accustomed, asking the Lord to accept his offering. And the Lord accepted the offering of Adam and Eve. Then Adam, Eve and the children drew near together and came down from the mountain rejoicing. But they returned not to the cave in which they were born, but came to the cave of treasures, in order that the children should go around in it, and be blessed with the tokens brought from the garden. But after they had been blessed with these tokens, they went back to the cave in which they were born. However, before Eve had offered up the offering, Adam had taken her and had gone with her to the river of water, in which they threw themselves at first, and there they washed themselves. Adam washed his body, and Eve hers also, clean, after the suffering and distress that had come over them. But Adam and Eve, after washing themselves in the river of water, returned every night to the cave of treasures, where they prayed and were blessed. My dear brothers and sisters, we can see from the very beginning the first signs of purification evident here, way before the law in Exodus. Adam and Eve did this until the children had been weaned. After they were weaned, Adam made an offering for the souls of his children. In addition to the 3 times every week, he made an offering for them. When the children were weaned, Eve again conceived, and when her pregnancy came in term, she gave birth to another son and daughter. They named the son Abel and the daughter Acleah. Abel was born with a twin sister, in complete contrast to the planted deceit of Genesis 4 verse 2. Later she gave birth to his brother Abel. Then at the end of 40 days, Adam made an offering for the son, and at the end of 80 days, he made another offering for the daughter, and treated them as he had previously treated Cain and his sister Lalua. He brought them to the cave of treasures, where they received a blessing, and then returned to the cave where they were born. After these children were born, Eve stopped having children. Surah 4 verse 1. O mankind, be dutiful to your Lord, who created you from a single person, Adam, and from him, Adam, he created his wife, Hawa, Eve, and from them both he created many men and women. We will begin to see the words of God come into fruition that he warned Adam about back in chapter 29, where he's told Adam about the devil's purpose. And I repeat, then came the word from God to Adam and said to him, know you and understand concerning this Satan, that he seeks to deceive you and your descendants after you. Well, we can begin to understand what we've just read in the following chapter of 76. Cain becomes jealous of Abel because of his sisters, and the children began to grow stronger and taller. But Cain was hard-hearted and ruled over his younger brother. Often when his father made an offering, Cain would remain behind and not go with them to offer up. But as to Abel, he had a meek heart and was obedient to his father and mother. He frequently moved them to make an offering because he loved it. He prayed and fasted a lot. Then came this sign to Abel. As he was coming into the cave of treasures and saw the golden rods, the incense and the myrrh, he asked his parents, Adam and Eve, to tell him about them and asked, where did you get these from? Then Adam told him all that had befallen them, and Abel felt deeply about what his father told him. Furthermore, his father Adam told him of the works of God and of the garden. After hearing that, Abel remained behind after his father left and stayed the whole of that night in the cave of treasures. And that night, while he was praying, Satan appeared to him under the figure of a man who said to him, you have frequently moved your father into making offerings, fastings, and praying. Therefore I will kill you and make you perish from this world. But as for Abel, he prayed to God and drove away Satan from him and did not believe the words of the devil. Then when it was day, an angel of God appeared to him, who said to him, do not cut short either fasting, prayer, or offering up an offering to your God. For look, the Lord had accepted your prayer. Be not afraid of the figure which appeared to you in the night, and who cursed you to death. And the angel departed from him. My dear brothers and sisters, it was decreed for all humanity to worship the one true God by praying, fasting, and making offerings. And right from the very beginning, Nehemiah 9, 1-3, Joel 2, 12-13, Matthew 6, 16-18, all give witness to the above. As the Surah 2, verse 183. O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting, as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may become righteous. Then when it was day, Abel came to Adam and Eve and told them of the vision he had seen. When they heard it, they grieved much over it, but said nothing to him about it. They only comforted him. But as to the hard-hearted Cain, Satan came to him by night, showed himself, and said to him, since Adam and Eve love your brother Abel so much more than they love you, they wish to join him in marriage to your beautiful sister, because they love him. However, they wish to join you in marriage to his ugly sister, because they hate you. Now before they do that, I am telling you that you should kill your brother. That way your sister will be left for you, and his sister will be cast away. And Satan departed from him. But the devil remained behind in Cain's heart, and frequently aspired to kill his brother. Chapter 78. Jealousy overcomes Cain. He makes trouble in the family. How the first murder was planned. Then Adam said to Eve, "Behold, the children are grown up. We must think of finding wives for them." Then Eve answered, "How can we do it?" Then Adam said to her, "We will join Abel's sister in marriage to Cain, and Cain's sister to Abel." Then said Eve to Adam, "I do not like Cain, because he is hard-hearted. But let them stay with us until we offer up to the Lord on their behalf." And Adam said no more. My dear brothers and sisters, it is for the above reason that an offering was to be made to the Lord God in Genesis 4. Meanwhile, Satan came to Cain in the figure of a man of the field and said to him, "Behold, Adam and Eve have taken counsel together about the marriage of you two, and they have agreed to marry Abel's sister to you and your sister to him. But if it was not that I love you, I would not have told you this thing. Yet if you will take my advice and obey me, I will bring to you on your wedding day beautiful robes, gold and silver in plenty, and my relations will attend you." Then Cain said with joy, "Where are your relations?" And Satan answered, "My relations are in the garden in the north, where I once meant to bring your father Adam, but he would not accept my offer. But if you will receive my words, and if you will come to me after your wedding, you shall rest from the misery in which you are, and you shall rest and be better off than your father Adam." At these words of Satan, Cain opened his ears and leaned towards his speech. And he did not remain in the field, but he went to Eve, his mother, and beat her, and cursed her, and said to her, "Why are you planning to take my sister to wed her to my brother? Am I dead?" His mother, however, quieted him and sent him to the field where he had been. Then when Adam came, she told him of what Cain had done. But Adam grieved and held his peace and said not a word. Then on the next morning, Adam said to Cain his son, "Take of your sheep, young and good, and offer them up to your God, and I will speak to your brother to make to his God an offering of corn." They both obeyed their father Adam, and they took their offerings and offered them up on the mountain by the altar.